Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, where we bring you a weekly dose of powerlifting news, tips, and training advice with a touch of 80s rock ballads. This podcast is presented by Team Roar Powerlifting, your source of the most comprehensive coaching and meet day preparation. Here are your hosts, Josh Rohr and Laura Sturm.
Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast. This is episode 165.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like it.
So I know we're having a recap today of the state meet, Georgia State meet, and the Arnold.
Yeah,
Exciting
a little
stuff.
long overdue for the state meet, and a little long overdue for episode in general. We didn't have one out in February at all, so we apologize. But Wade Johnson's here. What's up, Wade?
I'm here with you guys once again. It was fun getting to hang out with all three of us at the same place at the same time at the Georgia State meet.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
With the Mister as well.
Yeah, Stan Sturm.
It's always a good time. Always a good time.
Oh yeah.
So I figured we would just start off with the state meet, going through day by day, and then move on to the Arnold and just kind of recap how our lifters did, what your overall thoughts were, both of you. So Saturday morning we had Ari Hall, Taylor Smith, and April Gadsby. Overall thoughts, Wade, on how that morning session went?
Well, first and foremost, kudos to Kathy, Maley. What a big meet. That's the biggest state meet that I've ever seen, I've ever been to. My understanding, 3 days, it was over 300 lifters. I don't know the exact number, but there was 3 main platforms, 10 platforms in the warm-up area. And I thought it was well run. I thought things overall went really, really well and far exceeded expectations, at least for me. But you had 2 first meet lifters with Ari and Taylor, and the big takeaway with Ari, she struggled initially with the squat, and had to come back and get the opening squat on her third, and then from there, she
took off.
Put her foot to the pedal and off she went. And so that's a big kudos to her to have the composure not to panic or freak out given it was her first meet, and then Taylor, has a 9 for 9 day, and I think exceeded what we expected, certainly in her deadlift. What was her little full
send?
Full send.
Yeah. She kept calling for full send.
Full send on the deadlift. So yeah, she sent me a picture while I was driving back, and there's a picture of her and I, and all it said was full send.
Yeah.
So that was a good time. April's super strong. So I was really, really pleased with how everybody was in the warm-up room. Nobody seemed to be. Again, you've got 2 first meet lifters. April's got some experience, but they did really, really well. They did what was asked of them, when it was asked of them, and they went out there and they performed well.
Yeah, April finished with a 17.5 kilo squat PR and a 30 kilo total PR. So
that's pretty monstrous.
That's not too bad, right? So that was pretty good. Then Saturday afternoon we had Chris Whiteson. Let's see, Wesley Toller and William Ruff. So 3 guys lifting in the 82.5 kilo class. Thoughts on that?
I thought they put on a great show. It was one of those things where it's interesting, the dichotomy of different vibes with each guy, Mr. Ruff is just, what a competitor. What a great show that was between, I forgive me, I forget the gentleman that won that class, but man, really put the pressure on there at the end where his competitor had to, hit the lifts to make it happen.
Yeah, Dennis Obregon from Team Fueled was his main competitor there in 82.5s. And it came down to the third pull. Yeah, it's all you could ask for. We made a third attempt change at the last minute to a weight that would move him into first place, and then it was up to Dennis, and Dennis came through on his third after Will and retook first. So we did all we could do, and it was a good battle. It was a lot of fun.
It was a good time, and Wes, making that attempt, his first attempt at a 500-pound deadlift. I think a little bit of work. I think it was really, honestly, I felt like he had the horsepower. I don't know what you guys saw, but I felt like he had the horsepower. I felt like he probably rushed a little bit and was out of position, but still, a great day for him.
Yeah.
I really thought he did well.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Especially after, I mean, I don't know if he wants me to tell this or not, but he has a little bit of a nervous stomach sometimes, so he actually
He
I
wasn't
probably
nervous at all.
probably shouldn't say this, but might have thrown up right before his opening squat,
That wasn't a
and
mic.
Oh,
and opened with it without a belt because the belt was causing issues. So kind of
oh, wow.
kudos to him though, like stepping
Sure.
up and making it happen with by whatever means necessary, because that's not something you can necessarily plan on being this situation, but in the moment it is what it is, and you either deal with it or you don't.
Well,
Yeah.
he comes up to me, because he didn't almost. I mean, that was pretty much a big eruption. Bless his heart. And I mean, it happens. It does happen. And it certainly could have been worse. But once he got done, he wipes his face. He looks at me. He goes, "Well, we got that out of the way." So, I'm getting, that's the
Nice.
kind of attitude where you're, like sometimes things happen. Sometimes
Mm.
it just gets pat. Some of us are like that. Some of us are not. But again, what I always like to see is if when an athlete faces something like that situation, our Aries situation is it's not what is happening in the moment of, let's say, a mislift or, a nervous stomach. It's all right, once the dust settles, what are we made of? Am I going to be able to keep my composure? And that he just went out there and he performed well.
Yeah.
And he's got a great ability to stay with a lift. Like this is the second time I've seen him pull and just like almost get it and get it to that place and hold it for like 20 seconds. Sticking with it. So he'll get it next
Gritty,
time.
very gritty.
Yep. And then
Awesome.
Chris had an 8 for 9 day, and coming in, his training was going pretty good, but like the 2 days before the meet, he texted me and said something happened with his leg. It's like he's not even sure he can squat down with body weight. I don't know if he tweaked something or what, but anyway, like warming up, we weren't sure if we were going to do tokens or not. And as we were warming up, he's like, "Yeah, that one felt okay. Let's see what the next one feels like." And we just kept taking it one warm up at a time. And ended up, he didn't squat or pull a PR, but he was right there in the range of his top end. But his bench really came on. He hit a 5 kilo bench PR. So, and Chris is one of those guys. He doesn't train for powerlifting per se, but he trains for the state meet every year. He's actually the longest tenured state meet lifter in Georgia. His first one was 2011, and he's done every state meet since.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, so
That's awesome.
pretty interesting. Yeah.
Well, and what about you? There is not a more unassuming, laid back guy in the
Right.
warm up room. Like you'd have to go find him. Like, where did he go?
Yeah.
He's back in the corner, having a sip of something, or he's rolling something out or stretching, and just as cool and unassuming as possible. I was pretty impressed with that.
Yep. So
That was a good time.
that was a good time. Then day 3, Sunday, we had 5 lifters. We had, wait, is it 5? No, we had more than 5. I got some tabs hidden. So we had Gwen, Olivia, Isabel, Kevin, Ray, Jacob. That's 6, I believe. Yeah. And Laura, you were there for that one. Do you want to start off first impressions there?
Well, I mean, I was only really in the warm-up area, so the warm-ups went great. Except for that one time where somebody, I think he stumbled into a rack or something, and they didn't have clips, and the whole bar went flip, and
It was
people
coming
were
to us.
running out of the way.
I was on my way out of the warm-up room to go get a drink, I think, at that point, and I walked across that side that it dumped on about 3 seconds prior to it dumping. If I would have been 3 seconds later, it would have. Although I'm always looking for stuff like that, it might have got me because it happened quick.
Yeah, that was dangerous. But
yeah.
other than that, the warm-ups went great.
Yep.
And yeah, I was impressed with everybody's just composure. Everybody was fairly chill.
Cool.
Everybody listened to directions really well, but waited to be told what to do, followed the plan. Those are things that as a coach, especially when you have that many people, and you and I are running back and forth and, trying to make sure everybody is where they need to be. I had one of my guys was there from my gym. So, it was pretty complicated couple of days, between platforms and running back and forth to warm up. So it's just one of those things that I think it speaks volumes of the team, where you have so much, everybody, not only do they have trust in the coaching, that they have trust in each other and the team, and so everybody's helping, one another. And like kudos to Olivia, for the day before, being there basically all day and then coming back the next day to lift.
Yeah.
Ray had a big day. I was super pumped for him because he'd come off doing a strongman competition between powerlifting events, and we do a really good job, weaving in and out, but it's still kind of a challenge. And for him to come back, from doing really well at strongman and then getting back into the groove in a short period of time, it wasn't a long cycle, and to have a huge PR day in everything and going 9 for 9. I mean, that I was really proud for him.
Yeah. Gwen went 8 for 9. She hit PRs in every lift. She had a 17.5 kilo. Let's see, 17.5 kilo total PR, which was huge. Isabel went 7 for 9. She didn't have her best day. She had some stuff kind of going on, but still tied her all-time PR total. So I thought that was pretty impressive to have a not your best day and be at your best total. So she's definitely got more in the tank. She's actually lifting at collegiate nationals in a couple weeks.
Nice.
And I think you already mentioned Olivia. She was helping all weekend, and actually was helping during her session on Sunday, because she was just lifting to kind of do her last heavy workout before the Arnold. And so we'll get to her again in a minute. And then Kevin had a really good day. Kevin went 9 for 9, hit PR. Well, not quite a PR squat, but hit a PR bench and deadlift, and basically had a PR total day. And also his third pull was for best masters lifter of the meet. So that helped us with team points. He ended up with a first place finish for team points. So that was nice.
Sweet.
Yeah, Jacob went 8 for 9. His third pull, he loaded it up to hit the qualifying total for collegiate nationals, and it was about as close as you can get without it quite being there, I think. So he had a pretty good day overall. So I mentioned Ray, and then see, who didn't I mention yet? I think that's everybody. Yeah,
I think so.
So that was Sunday. Here's a thought or a question for you guys. It was mentioned to me. I won't say who. And afterwards, I thought about it, and I think they were right. Somebody mentioned to me that they were surprised that I did not get up on the podium with the team awards. We got 4th place as a team. I guess I didn't mention that. As I was loading up the truck in the back and stuff like that. I did come out to watch the team awards, and I know Ray went up there. But I was thinking about it more because, one of the comments the person said was, when you guys won a few years ago, I was on the podium with you. It would have been nice to have been on the podium. You've been on the podium when we placed or whatever. And yeah, in the moment I didn't think about it, but afterwards I'm like, yeah, that is kind of probably something that I should have made a priority, is be on the podium, just for that reason. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but I thought it, I guess where I was coming from is like, Ray's been on the team for a while and he was there, and I'm like, Ray, you can go up and represent the team, get the team award. But I think, with, it was basically all coaches up there, except us, because I had Ray go up instead. So I don't know what your guys' thought is on that. In the moment, I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was fine. I thought it was, something nice to have Ray go up and do it, but in hindsight and after hearing, from one of
Mm.
the other coaches, like it does kind of make sense to me that,
Mm.
maybe that ought to be a priority for
I'm
the
gonna differ. I'm gonna
okay.
differ there, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's always great as a coach. I've known you for quite a long while, and I know how much work you put into this, and there's even a lot more that I don't know about. But ultimately, the meat and the results are not about us coaches, it's about the lifters. And
Agreed.
the team, especially, Team Roar, I think they know what the value of the coaching is and everything that comes along with that. And you were providing equipment, and it was a super long weekend. You and I were up Friday night late working. We were both had computers and talking about the next day, and getting things done, and it was long days. And then you've got to tear all that equipment down and get it loaded up and move on. And so that's, I think in that situation you do, the best thing. And I think having someone represent the team in that situation, I don't have a problem. That doesn't, they know who you are. I don't think that that's a big deal. And I honestly don't think that the rest of the team thinks that's a big deal either. That's my opinion. That's what I think.
So was there only one person that was allowed to go up?
For the actual awards, yeah,
Mm.
it was one
Yeah,
person at a time.
yeah, I agree then. I think it should be a lifter. Um, but I think that afterwards, the photos, you should be on the podium taking a picture. Once everyone's meandered off, then that's the picture to take, the team award, when everybody's there, because that's when you'd be on the podium with anybody.
Yeah, and I think the point they were making is like, I guess as a respect to the other coaches, like being up there because we got fourth place to three other coaches, like, and I think for some of them, like, because we've won it a few times, so I think to be on the podium above us, I think
Mm.
is kind of what they were saying. Like, it would have been a cool thing for them. So I guess, yeah, regardless of what
Mm.
what everybody's opinion is, like, I'm going to say this, like, I will make it a point to do that for the official podium going forward, out of respect for the other coaches. I think that's to me
That's
that's an
fair.
important thing, and I didn't think about that so much in the
Mm.
moment. So
Do better.
do better. Yeah, it's all we can do.
Try.
Yeah, Arnold. Wade and I just got back from the Arnold, and it was a lot. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of fun. I guess we'll start off with the equipped Masters Pro Series final. Wade, do you want to start on that?
Well, I mean, how exciting was that? I mean, I think you and I looked at each other a couple of times where we smiled sheepishly, if we have that capacity, just with chills, just because it's like, man, the ladies it was, like a heavyweight bout. There was a lot of crazy lifting. I don't want this to be, seen as negative, but there had been a post earlier on the USA Powerlifting Judges Forum on Facebook, about how, some of the talent has been dwindled, so to speak. I'll put it that way. And I would defer to these results for the entire weekend to go, I I disagree and firmly believe that that's not the case at all. Because again, you saw a lot of placements come down to the final deadlift. And that's what, you and I were crunching numbers. Well, you did most of the number crunching. We just discussed it, but you know, how strong is Miss Dodge? I mean, what, like her third deadlift, I was, I was like, there's nobody was going to beat her that day. It doesn't formula, no formula. She was not going to be beaten. It was just that simple. Laura Sterling, as she, approaches another age category, just defies, it's one thing to be a master, like you're a new master, 40, 41. She's been around, she's done it all, she's seen it all. And she just, not only does she stay strong, she gets up there and, is swinging for the fences, and then again, I'm always going to gravitate towards a gritty lifter. And Amy has had some challenges over the last couple of years, and to to come through like she did, and get third place. That squat was just, a crazy grinder. It was pretty funny. You could see, she sent me a video clip where you can see me in the coach's box when she's deadlifting, and you can see me Englishing on the screen as she's pulling her last deadlift. So it was super exciting, because you had a world record deadlifter chasing, all three of those girls, and Keelani, and seeing that she had to concede once all three on the team hit their last deadlift. And I always love watching Stacy Metcalf lift. I she is such a hoot to me and such a fun person to be around. I love and adore her lifting. I love being around her, and
She
how
had a great day.
serious she had. A awesome day.
Yeah.
Especially her last deadlift. She was so excited. And I don't care where you rank in the world, where you lift, when you see someone that works so hard and then achieves a lift like that, especially, this is a daunting, place to lift at the Arnold, and to have that kind of a day. I mean, that was a big proud moment. I was proud to be on the platform with her.
Mm.
And
And there's a lot going on at the Arnold, right? It can kind of feel like a cluster of things going on, and so that's a lot just to get past. And I know Stacy's had issues with just, super busy warm-up rooms and kind of craziness back there, but for her to have such a good day, that's awesome. That's good to
yeah,
see.
for as much as she's progressed, like strength wise, like the amount of
Crazy.
progression she's made, like mentally, to be able to just like
Yep.
uh I always, every time people have trouble, with things like that, I'm like, talk to Stacy. Like, she's like the go-to person of like representative of how far you can come when you really take some time and work on that mental aspect. But yeah, just in terms of results, in the Masters Pro Final, um, you know, Keelani was coming in as the defending champion. She won the Pro Series last year, and with third attempts, Amy took her third attempt deadlift and moved into first. Laura Sterling then took her third attempt and moved into first in front of Amy, and then Katie Dodge was in third at the time, took her third deadlift to move into first. So that moved us in. Katie one, Laura two, Amy three. Um, and Amy had an American record squat in there, and I believe Katie had I believe her total was American record as well. But anyway, yeah, the defending champion had the decision to make, like loaded up to pull for the win from fourth to first, or she ended up, conceding the the uh, the payouts, I guess, and took a world record third attempt and stayed in fourth place. But if you look at the dots, like fourth was 509, I'm sorry, fourth was 509, third was 510, second was 512, and first was 516. Like, it was a dogfight the whole way. It was a lot of fun. So to have those ladies take one, two, and three was really something special, especially knocking off the defending champ. That
Well,
was
and you see, as the defending champion, she went 9 for 9, during the competition.
right.
Laura has a stumble with her opening squat, which, we had to change our tactic there. Um, or, Laura was certainly better, than 170, but there was risk with the jumps. We wanted to be sure we secured that much on the squat. I think, well, we went to the jury table with Laura's third bench. It was turned down 2-1, and the jury didn't rule in our favor. We went up there and fought the fight, but, and then we were, a couple things go differently, and she's going to be scrappy. Nobody was going to beat Katie that Saturday. That just wasn't going to happen. I'm sorry, Friday. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yep. And then also in that same session was the Raw Masters final, and we had Joe House and Lee Webb lifting. Lee is one of those lifters, like, she's less concerned about beating other people as she is beating herself. So this competition, we had to talk beforehand, and I'm just like, look, there's a lot at stake for this meet with the payouts. Like, are you sure you want to chase yourself and not just worry about like the other competition? She's like, yeah, let's do that. Let's just worry about winning. So we went a little more conservative than we normally would have, and it paid off. Like she went 8 for 9. She did miss her third squat. Just got a little bit off balance, I think, on that one, but she broke the world record bench on her second and third attempt, which was actually less than she's done before, because the world record was actually lower in the 100 kilo class than it was the 90 where she usually competes. But at the end of the day, she was in second most of the day, and at the end, she had to still put on a 200 kilo pull on her third attempt to just edge out Mel Mitchell, which is
Yeah,
no slouch.
Mel's a badass. Let's just be clear about that.
Yeah.
Mel's a badass. She's a really good buddy of mine. She's been here to help judge for meets and has come to visit and trained, and she's a tough one. And I think that's a big get for Lee. I mean, Lee is a quintessential champion. I mean, that's just the bottom line. But Mel in her weight class, in any situation like this where you're going to do a dots thing, she is going to be a contender. You can't give her any quarter at all, or she's gonna be tough to beat.
Yep. And then we had Joe House lifting as well. He went 8 for 9. He had a PR squat and a PR total at age 72. So I guess that's pretty good, right?
Just to be lifting at 72 is pretty good. I mean, wow.
Like my goal for 72 is to be alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe shoot a little higher.
He is such a hoot too. He's just such a good guy. And that I always enjoy being around Joe, and just to be his age, and I wouldn't say he's a giant of a man. He's a big guy, but to have that pull, that's just nuts.
Yeah.
And then we were both talking, thinking, well, 500 is just outside of his range, and then he pulls 490, and we both looked at each other and were like, damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah. But he's just so much fun. He's one of those guys that there's never a bad time with him,
Yeah.
And we always end up with great stories to tell.
Yep. Agreed. So on that note, we'll do a little self-promotion here. We're actively taking on new clients as of March 1st. So if anybody listening is interested in getting some coaching, Big Wade has some openings. Correct?
Yeah, let's just bring it. Let's just bring it and get some work done.
Yeah.
Let's build some more champions.
Yep, I like it. So you can hit us up if you're interested. You can hit us up on Instagram at Team Roar or at PL Ballads Podcast, and we'll get you on the right track. Other than that, man, I think I had a great time at the Arnold. I actually woke up Friday morning.
You were a sad little man. Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if I felt so
bad for you.
Yeah, I don't know if I caught something on the plane or what, but like Thursday night, I was waking up in the middle of the night miserable, and then Friday morning, like there was a point in time Friday morning when I woke up that I was seriously considering calling you, Wade, and saying, "Hey, I'm not coming."
Well, when I saw you walk in and I started walking towards you, I was like, something's wrong,
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, man, don't get too close, right? And you, to your credit, though, I mean, you rallied. Once we got into the throes of things going on, you seemed to rally.
Yeah.
All the way into dinner.
Yeah, little.
Is this the day you're handling equipped lifters?
Yeah, that was the Friday where we had 6 lifters going, 4 equipped and 2 raw. But
yeah, that's a workout.
To even consider not coming though, I was like, there's no way I can miss that. Like I got to be there. So a little caffeine, little, I don't know, whatever. made it through. But then I felt better, by the evening, and then the next day I felt fine. So, but yeah, that was a rough little go in the morning getting going.
Yeah, it took it was a little ways to go. So, but I really loved it. I was really concerned when you found out that there was going to be a change with where we were going to be put, because we were traditionally we've been in C-Pod. I think we've grown to love that area and the warm up area. And you were like, oh gosh, this is going to be quite a challenge. And the feedback I've gotten is people really dug it.
Yeah,
There was the seating, there was a huge crowd, both days, that I was there, in with the crowd. It was huge, a lot of people, a lot of traffic stopping by to take the meat in. Seating stayed full the entire time.
yeah. And when I walked in, my first impression, honestly, was I don't like this, but it was more because it was changed than anything
Right.
else. But once we got going, the amount of space we had, it was so much easier to get everybody warmed up.
I agree.
There with the perimeter around the warm up room and the lifting area, like people were like standing around the entire thing, so like people could watch warm ups. People could watch from the side of the platform, um, where you couldn't do that in CPOD. It was like standing room only, and you had to a lot of times look at the jumbo board to see the video of it. So I think it gave everybody a better view, and yeah, there was a lot of people. Like it was crowded the whole time. It was great.
Nice.
So yeah, if I have to choose now, I think I like that spot
I
better.
agree. I knew that
Mm.
was coming. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Nice. I did hear from someone who was at the Arnold that wasn't a powerlifter, that just happened to go by and watch USA Powerlifting's event and texted me, and they're like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
So, the whole Jumbotron and the music and the hype and, Gino and that whole thing there, I think for people that aren't powerlifting, getting that exposure,
And
it never hurt.
there was a lot of traffic. So when Olivia was lifting, I made it a point to go out into the crowd, not the seating, but both sides of the platforms. There was two platforms going on, just to kind of take it in. I shot pictures from those positions just to give people an idea of the density of spectators. I was really impressed. Like I said, I went in extremely skeptical, prepared to be disappointed, and I think not only did they pull it off, I think it's a better setup for us, because you get some insight of being able to see as a spectator that may not be a power lifter, that's just part of the expo, or coming to see the expo, and you see these lifters that are warming up, and what's going on, and you can take that all in. I thought it was really well done. It was pretty insightful on their part.
Yeah.
Even though we were being resistant going in, I thought at the end of it, I was like, this is a win.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess we haven't talked about Saturday yet. So yeah, Saturday was Olivia. She lifted in the Raw Challenge, and our goal going in was to place top 3 by dots and earn a pro card to get into Raw Nationals this year. But things didn't quite go our way. But hey, that's why you show up. I was proud of her though, because she battled through some issues we were having, and she did. She did squat a PR pretty easily, but it was called 2-to-1 high, so it didn't officially count. But like strength wise, that's the part that as the lifter, I get it. Like you're so frustrated and so I guess just you know demoralized a little bit sometimes when stuff like that happens. But looking at it objectively, the amount of strength that has been built from even 6 months ago, like it's there, it just didn't happen to show up on the platform. Well, it showed up on the platform, just a little technicality with depth. So the takeaway there is like keep the foot on the gas and keep training, because what we're doing is working, and like, the best is yet to come. So
Well, you want to talk about somebody with scary, scary potential.
yeah.
And this is not someone that had, I don't know how many meets she's done, but she's still what I would consider, still somewhat young in the sport. And so just having that, was this her first Arnold as well? Wasn't
Yeah, it was her first Arnold.
Again, so to have, and look at the people that she was lifting against, it wasn't like there was no gimmies here.
No.
You look at the people that she finished in front of, and You know, you had women that I remember a time, and I told you this at the meet. I've been around long enough that when female lifters were breaking 300 to 350 in the deadlift, that was special. Now the standard for the day, is 375 to 425, and that's just to be in the running, which is to me is absolutely insane. And so to lift like she did, under that kind of pressure, what her biggest pressure was the personal expectations. We were discussing that the week before. And still to come in and perform, at the high level that she did only speaks volumes of the breadth of capacity that she has to improve. I am super pumped to see, where she goes. She's still so young. And so, and the amount of horsepower, once there's a little bit more discipline with the execution, which comes with seasoning, she's going to be a tough go.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm excited too. Like that's the part, like we look at her objectively and we're like, you haven't even scratched the surface. And
Oh,
then,
no,
in
no.
her mind, she's like, oh, I'm no good, blah, blah, blah. But
Mhm.
sometimes that's like the mentality you have to have a little bit. That's what I was telling her too. Like it's a fine line, like not being hard on yourself just to be hard on yourself, but to keep you motivated and challenge you and kind of have that chip on your shoulder. But like at the end of the day, when things don't go right, like you can't use that as an excuse to just beat yourself down and talk bad. You have to, objectively look at where you actually are. It's a dangerous fine line to walk thinking that way, but it works for some people. I was that way. Like I was always talking bad about myself, like, and I used it as motivation, but and looking back objectively too, it's like when things didn't go right, like I spiraled because I continued to pile on and reinforce that I was no good, and that was not helpful. So that's the part we got to try not to get into there. But anyway,
Well, I think one of the things that she and I talked about, you were part of the conversation, is that let's say let's say she hit all of her goals and got her pro card. You
right?
still have to have a short memory. It's like
Yep.
so the big thing, especially with someone with that kind of talent and as willing as she is to show up and work hard, it's like, okay, we're going to celebrate the effort that it took to get here. And then in a couple of days or in a week, it's time to get back to work. Win or lose, it's time to get back to work. So, like I said, I'm eager to see, get some rest, clear your head, reset, make some new goals. And, when she gets busy, like I said, she puts it together and she learns to execute, at that level. She's going to be tough to beat.
Yep. I agree. It's exciting.
It's that I love watching stuff like this because it's not you have someone that's young, like Olivia, and then you have someone that is somewhat young in the sport, but like Joe or even Laura, Laura who's full of piss and vinegar and ready to compete. That she wants to compete,
Yeah.
she wants to compete. Well, I mean, look at how she was about drinking beer. She wants to
I was gonna say,
compete. She wants
see,
to compete, and I love that. She's
see,
tough. She's tough to work on now, but I love that. Like, no, I don't care what it is. I want to win.
but you notice though, she's calling me out to try to go head to head drinking with me. She knows she's gonna beat me, so I think she's trying to pick the chumps.
We know who she didn't call out.
I know, right? She didn't call out Big Wade.
No, she's not going to either. So let's
Yeah.
let's just be. We're going to say that out loud. Just you may want to win. This is not a win for you, sweetie. I'm going to be the champ.
Yeah. I, on the other hand, am not. I lose. So
Yes, you're a lightweight.
I didn't even drink my whole beer. I had one and didn't even drink the whole thing.
Well, she took a picture to have proof of that as well.
Did
So
she?
of course she did.
Of
It
course
was
she did.
hysterical.
That's great. I can't wait for that to come out later.
It will.
Yeah,
Good times.
cool. I think that's all I got. Any closing thoughts on State Meet or Arnold from either of you?
It was fun. The three of us don't get together often enough, and so that was just a lot of fun. I think we all worked really well together. I was really happy with how all the athletes were receptive to all of us telling them what to do. And, those are the things that are when you have a plan, how hard everybody works to have a plan, and then it's cohesive, and then it gets executed, and then, the chips fall where they may, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, you know, celebrate that effort. We had good food afterwards. You and I got to spend a little bit of time together, talking coaching and some of our history and having a beer. And, that to me is gold. I broke a chair. That was, you
That's a
didn't
good
see that
story.
coming.
That's a good story.
So,
Memories, making memories.
yeah, so I'll tell it really quickly. So, I was the first one to get to the Airbnb, and I set up in the kitchen, or in the dining area, up against the window where I would have room and be out everybody's way. I didn't know what the situation was going to be like. And I sat in the same chair all weekend. I guess it was Sunday morning. Is that right?
Yeah.
Sunday morning, we're tearing everything down, and I'm breaking everything down, and I go to get up, and all at once I go down in a heap. The whole one leg just totally folds under the chair. And I understand I'm a big guy, but even I was like, I haven't broken a chair in a long time. So, I collect myself, because what I didn't want to do is, where I was falling was, there's this big kind of china hutch that had a few curiosity items in it, if you will. And I could totally see me taking that out, and that would have been a really big mess. And so once I realized I was okay, I got up, and then we realized one of the bolts were missing in the chair. I probably shouldn't have been sitting in it, but I'd sat in it since the entire weekend. And but man, did I go! You want to talk about going? You think that bar at the state meet moved quickly? I went from
Ruh-roh.
0
We're losing Wade.
to
Right.
in a flash. I was, oh well, the fat guy breaks the chair. So
Oh well, good times. All right. Well, I think we'll end it there. Appreciate everybody listening. Again, sorry for no episodes in February, but we are hopefully back now. Maybe we'll be having Wade on a little more often if we can get schedules coordinated. But appreciate everybody listening. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at PL Ballads Podcast. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, shoot us an email at plballadspodcast@gmail.com. We also have a link in our bio that has a couple of forms you can fill out if you want to ask a question or anything like that to be discussed on the podcast. So we have a couple that came in during the Arnold, so we will probably get to those next week. And until then, we'll see you later.
Bye now.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.